Ladies and gents, welcome to round of 16 here in Warlords 3. 9 villager start, of course, and we're just slightly behind live time here. Nothing crazy. Should be an excellent series here. Been excited for this one ever since I saw that bracket. We've got MbL playing as the Portuguese, and this is one of his top picks on the draft. So really important game, I think, for longevity and long-term for both of these two. Then we've got Chinese for Sitaux on the other side. Now, the way the draft works is there's a whole bunch of random bans on civs, and then they both get to pick 2 civilizations that's hidden, and then it is only revealed after both those 2 picks are made. But the key distinction there is that both players could technically pick the same civs, right? And when Chinese was available, I felt like Chinese would definitely be picked by both. MbL didn't pick Chinese at all. And my feeling is because it's a 9 villager start, right? The Chinese then, of course, start with 12 to give them their additional 3 villagers. And it is so much easier to play a 9 villager start, or in this case 12, I guess, with Chinese, than it is a standard game where you start with 6 villagers instead of 3. Because you have so many vills, right? And the reason I bring this up is because it's like a guaranteed 3 villager lead. Normally, in a standard approach, a standard start, as MbL was walling the whole map right now, it's a little bit harder to get going because you don't have as many vills and you start with 0 food. But it's very easy to recover from it here. Sitaux is going to have a massive lead until MbL does some damage to him, if MbL can do some damage to him. Now, I speak about this with intensity, guys, because I do really feel like it is a misplay to not have Chinese in the draft. Just straight up. But MbL has always been a player where I question some things with his draft. Usually able to get the job done anyway, so. MbL looked at his map and said, I can turn this into arena here. He's got back gold. He's got back stone. He's got plenty of wood lines. And he might actually try... Well, knowing MbL, he probably will just kind of get the walls down and go feudal anyways. But it's clearly a very passive play here from MbL. As Sitaux, he wants to play Arabia as most players do with a lot of aggression. So he's on the way to feudal age right now. Someone says, I did not understand. You're saying it's better to play Chinese in a 9 villager start? Yes, significantly better with these settings. And my feeling is so strong that others agreed, right? And in other 9 villager start tournaments, because the Chinese are so much stronger than usual, they've actually had Chinese start with minus 100 food. That is how significant the Chinese lead is in these settings. In Warlords, the decision was not made to have them start with minus 100 food like other tournaments. But I do feel like they're incredibly strong. Like, Sitaux has 500 more resources collected. And he's going to have more villagers consistently. He now sees that MbL is walled up, and he has decisions to make. And he's going to drop that stable anyways. Now, I don't think adding some scouts here is going to be bad for Sitaux. I think having some map control could still be really nice. MbL wanted to make it so he doesn't receive any damage here behind the walls. Yeah, 500 more resources, and he clicked up earlier with less fills working. Exactly. It's really strong. But, what MbL has done is he has guaranteed that this game is going to go most likely to at least Castle Age. These walls keep him pretty protected. And that's where MbL shines. The longer the game goes, the better he is. His struggle, compared to the majority of players out there, would be the early game stuff. His builds aren't as clean. Like, I love MbL. He's one of my favorite players. But I feel as though sometimes his Dark Ages are worse than, like, 2100 elo players, right? Players who are 500 or 600 elo behind him. It's just... This Dark Age is completely fine. But usually that's a weakness for him. So if that's the case, makes sense for him to just try and play safe here behind some walls. So farms are going to come up here for Sitaux. Sitaux hoping to keep an eye on MbL. And he sees the barracks now and he reacts perfectly. The last time that these guys played each other was in King of the Desert 5, which is an Arabia-only tournament. And MbL 4-0'd Sitaux. It was a crazy series. We had crazy highlights with the lames. But this is mixed maps. I do not expect a 4-0 today. I really feel like Sitaux, if he's off to a fast start, he wins with his top pick against like MbL's Portuguese, for example, here. Could be a perfect start for him, especially working towards a lot of those mixed maps that are out there. MbL is really the best at making it awkward. And coming forward with the 2 spears have given him some value here. But there's going to be some archers out here in a moment here for Sitaux. Sitaux should be completely fine. Sitaux still attacking this gate. MbL will probably just make another spear. It's kind of what MbL is known for. It's just lots of counter units. Lots of spears, lots of skirms. You don't see MbL relying on gold units as much as a lot of other players do. And kind of finding some value here, MbL. But still no villager kills. Still has been a pretty flawless feudal age here for Sitaux so far. Angry Hobbit says, anyone else in chat going to Red Bull Spain? Cannot confirm. Also, have they revealed details on when they're selling tickets and like how many tickets are available for fans for that event yet? I'm curious on that. Obviously, had the opportunity to cast other Red Bulls, which was amazing. And it was always cool to meet people and see the live crowd. Some tickets have been sold already. Oh, really? Okay. I take it you bought one, Angry Hobbit? I will say this about MbL's situation. Tons of farms right now. 13 farms. There's really good food eco. And his base is incredible and it's fully walled. Like, everything is protected here. Paradox says they did it really bad. I mean, I was on a trip, so I didn't know. I thought maybe for that reason. I know in the past, the way the information was released disappointed some people, but I haven't heard how many tickets there's going to be and how they're doing it exactly, but I hope to be there. Can I be your +1 T90? If I'm going, nothing's confirmed. I will probably bring my fiance over you. I hope you're not offended by that. I did say probably, though. So... I gotta be careful. She might be listening to the stream today. So, the resources collected has evened out a little bit. Sitaux switched into the range pretty early here. So he didn't have the farm count that he would normally have. And he felt he had to switch into the range due to how aggressive things... Well, how aggressive things seemed. Woo, woo, woo! MbL loses the villager to a wolf. Nice. Sorry, not the villager, the spearman there. And yeah, Sitaux, I mean, he does have 5 villagers in queue right now, but he might click up to Castle Age a little behind MbL here. MbL has put himself in a nice position. He's actually balanced his eco a bit better than his opponent. Took advantage of a nice map and is on the way to Castle Age right now. And like typical MbL, what is he doing? He's making spears and he's making skirms. This is why in Hidden Cup, I mean, one of many reasons why it was so easy to guess this guy. Freaking MbL the Great over here. And I don't expect anything crazy from MbL beyond just this. I think he's going to boom and he's going to find some amazing kills here. Oh my god, Sitau's got to be so frustrated here. And like, I was talking about how good I think the Chinese can be. What we haven't talked about is how good the Portuguese can be long-term as well. And when you play this way, you kill that many archers and get a nice Castle Age lead, you're always going to have a decent opportunity to overtake the opponent here. So I think for MbL, he might actually turn this into a forward siege push here. He escapes with 2 vills. I love this decision. I mean, Sitau's map is just not good, right? Like, these are 2 different worlds that these guys are living in right now. And MbL is going to try and take advantage of this. He knows the gold is forward. And he wants to go for a siege monk push on the front here. This is going to be really difficult for Sitaux, especially if Sitaux isn't aware that this is happening. This could always get to you as a player as well, right? Like, if you have Chinese and you have all these feelings on the civilization like I do, and then you lose, you could be like, man, I kind of counted on Chinese to do something for me here. Sitaux sees this, And Sitaux should know what this means. He sees the monastery, he sees the siege workshop, and he's going to drop a tower here. Pretty much forced to drop a tower. There's no question that he needs something more to defend here. He's producing more scouts, so probably thinking about light cav eventually, which is great if there's going to be monks. I like the tower decision from Sitaux for a little bit of extra security here. I think you send 1 or 2 villagers to this stone, and you're completely fine. Sitaux already actually leaving the wood and heading over to this gold outside of his walls right now. So just a scorpion and a couple monks on the way for MbL. And now Sitaux is going to have to push this back in some way. MbL is on 2 town centers behind this, so he's chilling. Sometimes you think these pushes are going to be, with everything the guy has, but this is a nice push from MbL. This push is not designed to kill his opponent. It has the potential to eventually, but he's actually going to shift mainly into defense right now. The problem I see for MbL is his army's not really that strong right now against Cav. I guess it would be strong against, if he has enough monks still, it could be strong, but like, if these crossbows are able to snipe the monks, everything dies here to the Cav. And maybe if the spears become pikemen, it's different. MbL, I think realizing he could be a bit exposed, is just going to fall off for the time being. Still just 1 town center for Sitaux. Hasn't shifted over to stone because he dropped the tower because of the forward. Looking now with his scouts to see where MbL is going. And MbL is just trying to back up so we can get more spears. Really smart from MbL here. So frequently, you're just like, I have to commit to this push. I have to push. I have to push. But he's like, no, I actually don't. And he could go back, to continuing this push once he has more spears in the mix. So he correctly assessed the situation there. Really smart. Dropping TC number 3 outside of his walls, but on the other side of the wood line and protecting the gold. That is a perfect TC. And MbL sees this. Somehow didn't kill a crossbow with the first volley, but is going to kill crossbows with all the volleys after. And it's pretty much impossible for Sitaux to engage against this. Because if he moves in, there's always an answer for MbL. Whether it's the monks or the spears. MbL is playing amazing today, guys. Like, he is taking advantage of his map, yes. But he seems so comfortable at the moment. And Sitaux, he's making tons of army here, but he's still just 1 town center. And pretty soon, MbL is going to overtake Sitaux in resources collected. And who knows how much more army he can make here. It's just spears, monks, scorpions. It probably should switch into something else at some point. Lycav diving in for the monks. There's an opportunity here for Sitaux. Sitaux's knights aren't attacking. It's not pikemen here. MbL lost his monks immediately. The spears are going to engage. But I think the spears will actually die to the knights and the crossbows here. And MbL is forced to fall back. The army finally pays off for Sitaux. And that push that MbL was going to attempt is pretty much dead in the water. Like, he's got a couple monks there, but that's it. MbL really needs more production from home right now. We got +2 armor for Sitaux. And a villager on the way. This villager might not make it, but it'd be a risk for MbL to hop out. But it's going to be forward siege from Sitaux. He feels like he's got to kill MbL before MbL can get more army out here. Nice shot from Sitaux. It looked rough. It looked like he needed a fight. He found it. And we got to think about how efficient the economy will end up being long-term here for MbL, right? Both of those TCs were just garrisoned. He's going to garrison more and more, I'm sure. And honestly, MbL, like, he doesn't have monks at home. If these knights just run into the back of the eco, MbL's going to have problems in a lot of different areas here. Forward siege workshop. Forward siege now from Sitaux. And the 2 Lycav forcing so many reactions here from MbL. But the knights do go down. Like, Sitaux stayed underneath those TCs for a long time. MbL still holds 20 villager lead. Only lost... Actually, he didn't lose a single villager this game. Still keeping himself in this. This is the area I was looking to see Sitaux go to. He didn't know the gold was back there, but... Finally gets there with the Lycav. More siege is going to be on the way. He's got knights and siege over here as well that he could collect and send into the mix. He's got Lycav on the Mangonel. MbL. No way. Oh, those Lycav found value. The Lycav forced all the reactions with the raids. They kill the villager, and killing that MbL just means that Sitaux can continue this push. Still one town center for Sitaux, which is wild to me. But that allows him to put a lot more focus onto the attack and all of his resources into army here. Again, like, MbL's idle time is just rising and rising and rising right now. He's consistently underneath town centers, it feels like. He did go for redemption a moment ago, so he can convert his opponent's siege. I'm not seeing any monks at home right now. Does he even have a defensive monastery? That's really weird. I must be missing something here. It says he has monks. Oh, they're over here. He, like, looped those guys home from the monastery. That is really interesting situation there. I feel like that's definitely something only MbL would do. And those monks are going to surprise Sitaux because he hasn't seen a monastery yet. God, this game is insanely close. By the way, resources collected is dead even right now. Like, the fact that MbL is like 25 villagers ahead and it's dead even is insane. The monks are on the way through. TC's almost down for MbL. But he'll have redemption, so he can convert the siege and possibly stop the push. Sitaux needs to be careful. He needs to back away here. The conversion comes in. That Mangonel gets a kill. And the shot from MbL kills another one. But guys, he's panicking. He's still, like, that monk right there doesn't have faith for conversion because he used all of his monks to convert the siege. Sitaux just has to keep pumping out Lycav and Knights here. I think Lycav more than Knights is the key. He's going for TC2. He's going for TC3. I think, like, if MbL had a defensive monastery, it'd be a little bit different. But I do actually feel like Sitaux could continue to run through here with Lycav. Try and make some crazy things happen. He's scared, though, because he lost so much siege there. And MbL with some quick house walls. Beautiful house walls from MbL. He's staying alive, guys. Siege is on the way. But the monks are still here. Lycav are going to swoop in for the monks. MbL! Quick walls! And some needed quick walls there for MbL. If he didn't get those quick walls down, there's no way this castle ever completes. The monks hop out of the TC. They reposition. And one of the mangonels gets converted as well. And Sitau's got to stay close to that. Has MbL held on here? He's definitely held on. But, you know, he's lost some vills. There's some inefficiencies, and I still wonder what his army comp's going to be. But it's 93 villagers against 63. Sitaux just so close to breaking MbL there with those attacks. Definitely one of those, if he had, like, a couple more knights, if he maybe found different positions, things could have gone differently there. A good game here, guys. We'll see what MbL wants to make now. He's going to go for another monastery in Siege Workshop, seeing as he's losing the one on the front. MbL has no map control, and he still can't really deal with Lycav raids that easily. Now, he can hop inside the TCs. He can go for conversions, but, I mean, I think you're less worried about conversions if you have your own monks in the mix to just convert the units back if you're Sitaux. And you could do this with the armor, and now the attack coming in. Just stay underneath those TCs and keep the MbL busy. There's a lot of exposed areas over here for MbL. But he's had 2 hours of idle time here. This is going to be an amazing series. Both these plays are so good. Look at the micro there from Sitaux. You don't see players out mangonelling MbL that frequently. And MbL will have more crossbows, more Lycav coming his way, and Sitau's eco is flying behind this. Honestly, I wouldn't hate a 4th and a 5th town center in this type of game. MbL already went to 4, but, like, I think from Sitaux, we know he's behind in vills. He won't necessarily know that, but it just feels like the game's messy enough where it would make a lot of sense. MbL is on the way to Imp. And he's going to hop out here. Hits the crossbows, doesn't kill much, and loses the mangonel, and will lose the Siege Workshop. MbL's on the way to Imp, but he does not have army to defend this easily. We'll try and get a conversion. Gets the conversion. Kills a monk. Man, it's so crazy. I wonder, guys, do Chinese get devotion? So devotion is still kind of, it's still new. I know most civs get it. I'm actually unsure on if all civs get it. I think it's like 95% of civs, maybe 1 or 2 civs don't get it. Okay, everyone's saying all civs get it. Okay. Well, I think Devotion should have been researched at this point then by Sitaux. I think, you know, a couple extra moments where he could rest and chill while he's trying to get these pushes down. I think it would have benefited for him here. MbL imping. He's got 6 Organ Guns. But he's going to drop stables at home, and I think that's a good choice here. I think Organ Gun production is awkward if you only have 1 castle. So you wait till you get 2 to 3 castles to continue with that. But otherwise, I think Cavalier is a good choice, especially because Sitau's base is wide open. MbL has held. He'll be an imp in 40 seconds. Sitaux hasn't clicked up yet. This is amazing for MbL. And guys, it's so interesting. Like, I remember, you know, tweets from Nilly in the past. I remember just conversations with Nilly. Where Nilly, I think the exact quote was, "How is MbL so good?" Right? And the reason I bring that up is because he is unorthodox in how he sees the game with his drafts. And how he plays the game with, you know, in this case, the walls and the trash units. And, you know, I, in Dark Age, expressed my feelings on how you have to pick Chinese. And here, he's in a position to potentially beat Chinese. But I do agree, though. I think MbL's map was insane. I think Sitaux will really have to forget that. That's something, if he wants to give feedback to the organizers and the map scripters, he could do so after. But MbL played the situation very well. That castle will go up for Sitaux. Sitaux forced to pull some light cav over here to deal with the Organ Guns. So, you know, what MbL has potential to do here is pretty much just raid Sitaux to death. Like, Sitau's probably going to need to make camels. And the Chinese have great camels, but like MbL, he's got so many different areas he can hit here, right? This is an area he could do some damage. Splitting up the Cavalier to run through here as well. Now waltzing forward to drop a castle on this hill. Really difficult game for Sitaux to play, especially when his opponent already has a villager lead on him. It's not like MbL's all in, and he's going to eventually stall out with what he can produce. Gold units are cheap with Portuguese. MbL's got full map control now. And it feels like there's just one too many areas for Sitaux to have to deal with. With each attack, MbL splits up his light cav into a couple different groups. Hits the farms, but also goes directly to the gold. Still has these Cavalier running around. Still has the Organ Guns over here. Sitaux is falling apart. And MbL is also going to have Trebs from the hill, which is sick. Placing this castle here is not something a lot of players are going to do. A lot of players are going to play safe castles back at home. You would never see like a Viper or a Hera build this castle. I think they'd probably opt for maybe a castle, well, actually the more I look at it, the more obvious this hill is. But the point is MbL oftentimes uses his castles forward for a Treb push. There's a time and a place for it, and there's a lot of reason to place defensive castles when you already have the lead, right? A castle over here, for example. And then, you know, we maybe see another castle here and a castle here over time. MbL doesn't care about that, right? He knows that he's in a position to really force the issue here. Trebs are going to be on the way. Cavalier are still split up into a bunch of different groups here. Like, he's kept these guys active. He's kept them alive. And Sitau's going to have heavy camel in 50 seconds, and he really needs good fights. Like, he needs those fights to happen soon. He needs to clear up the Cavalier, and he needs to keep this castle up. Maybe you don't repair this castle, but I feel like you almost have to. I think because you have to combat this hill. Because this hill controls this area, and this area is extremely important to Sitaux. God, I'm really impressed with all the different groups that MbL has split up here. It's pretty insane. Like, he lured all of these units away and still had more Cavalier back on this gold. Sometimes a player's missing, like, that third and fourth step, right? They have the first and second step. But to have that third and fourth raid, to go beyond what the opponent's capable of managing is sometimes difficult. But MbL has it here, guys. And he's going to have Halb on the front as well, so Camel alone will not be enough. Sitau's in big trouble. Really sick. Let's not forget MbL's eco is perfect back at home, and the GG is called. And like we said, man, Chinese, no Chinese, all the things you can think about in a standard game, MbL just kind of flips the script. Played extremely well there, and Sitau's going to be kicking himself for that one. Now, I think where the game went wrong for me is Sitaux didn't focus on seeding farms to the same level in Feudal. It feels weird to go all the way back to Feudal Age, but essentially he dropped 100 wood for the mining camp. He dropped 175 wood for the range. You could already see at this point in the game, MbL not doing that led to more farms for him, all right? And those farms eventually led to the faster castle age. And with the faster castle age, MbL got his lead. You know, but it's so tricky. If your opponent is fully walled and you are not, it's easy to make those mistakes. And Sitaux probably felt like because he was Chinese, he could still go, what? He could still go into army. And capture age is bugged for me. All right. Day 2 of capture age being bugged for me. Can I toggle this with a hotkey? Okay. Well, guys, I'm sorry I can't show those details right now. I will see if capture age can push a fix. Oh, man. I don't know if there's a hotkey to like tab over to it, so I'll try and figure that out for the next games. Game number 2, and we've got Kawasan. So Sato loses the first game with one of his best civs. Will really feel bad about that one if he can't get the job done here on his very first home map. We got Malians for MbL. We have Japanese for Sitaux. Now this map, you have to focus on a lot of different areas here, but the ponds are the main focus. And again, 9 villager start. Things are a little bit faster here. And so already we should see villagers headed over towards the ponds. Now, most games I've seen on this map, players are on separate ponds. I don't know why that is. There is an exception to that yesterday, but it seems like Sitaux is going to walk over here. And MbL is going to walk over here. Now, they'll scout that and probably determine they haven't docked to the same side as the opponent. I think these civs are really even with the starts. Like, Malians, all their wood buildings are discounted. But then Japanese save half the wood on the lumber camps, mills, mining camps. So they both save a lot of wood, which means you could add additional docks. They're very similar in that they then could go like infantry archer, right? Both civs are really good at that. I think where these civs start to change a bit is in the late game. I actually think Japanese are a really good matchup against Malians in late game. I think if Japanese actually get to fully upgraded cav archers, the Malians don't have much of a chance. Malians can kind of struggle against a combination of cav archer halb, I think. But Malians have decent enough range units. They also have really strong infantry too, so I think Malians having access to bombard cannon can be really important and crucial points of the game. It's a really close matchup. I think this map is normally decided by who has control of this middle area, because if you control the middle area, you kind of control the access to the opponent and their access to you. I know that there's other directions you can go, but it's just you just have so much control and vision if you're through the middle. Water on either side, of course, blocks off a lot of that too. So MbL bringing a villager over here right now, and he'll be looking to see where Sitaux is docked, if Sitaux is docked. Doesn't see it yet, but I think you just have to know. I think if he scouted all of this, he should know this right now. And he's going to be up to feudal age very quickly. His goal is definitely to kill the fish here. And he is going to walk right next to Sitaux and be like, oh. And he's going to drop his dock there. I don't know. Like, I find it interesting that he's trying to rush the fish so quickly against the Japanese. A lot of people don't try that because the Japanese fishing ships are so hard to kill. But maybe that's why you need to hit them a little bit faster. Sitaux doesn't see this. Sitaux behind this has a barracks. He's making militia. And he's headed over to MbL's base right now. MbL does not have scouting on the fact that his opponent's going for the militia. And then Sitaux doesn't have scouting on the fact that there's a dock on his pond. So save fish over here for MbL for now. Hoping to kill his opponent's fish, and then obviously is exposed on land. And this is what's fun about the map. Is there's just so many different things you need to focus on. It's almost impossible to get the scouting intel to see everything, but you have to know in some ways based on what you do or don't see. Like in this case here, Sitaux should know he's got 4 on gold. He's probably docking me, and I just checked with a fishing ship. And I think he might end up abandoning, not fully abandoning his pond, but he's definitely not committing to a second dock, I'm noticing. Now, MbL, his scouting hasn't been great. It looks like he's trying to scout to see if there's a dock over here, and there's not. But he's very much in the dark on what's to come here. He doesn't know the militia are on the way. This is the build that Sitaux started. The Frush, the Baguette, the French Rush, just the 2 militia. Why make a third? Why go for man-at-arms when you can use the starting scout with 2 militia and find similar value? But that gold spot for MbL is just close enough to the TC where Sitaux doesn't feel like he can stick around. MbL's going to use a demo. That's really weird. Like, if you're going to demo there, I feel like you want to demo the 3 fish. So that was a bit sloppy from MbL. And he's going to, again, think about using another demo here. But so far, the fishing ships haven't gone down yet. They probably will. Because MbL is just committing so much more here, right? It's 2 docks against 1. Ooh, villager for Sitaux. And the quick wall goes down. Really sick stuff there. I mean, that was immediate. I think you have to get the quick wall down immediately these days. Because if the opponent realizes you're trying to block, they're probably going to just... Or not block, sorry. If they realize you're going to quick wall, they're going to block your wall. The meta is kind of evolving as far as that's concerned. Sitaux finding it difficult to find villager kills because MbL... Wow, the villager got stuck. MbL is doing a great job at evading, but this is a lot of idle time for MbL. Like, he still doesn't have a barracks down. Like, he's not going to have archers. He's got a tower, but these walls are crazy. And because... the villager got saved, and the scout from MbL was clicked away. MbL's fish might not be safe here. So he's making a fire galley to defend his fish, but he's not Japanese. So they might not be around for much longer. So essentially what MbL has done is he sent like everything to wood, he sent everything to gold, and he's set up his whole strategy around spending only wood and gold. What he hasn't done is, like, taken the berries yet, right? Which Sitau's going to start to do. Those are things that he's going to have to think about. But, I mean, is this not the most MbL walled you've ever seen, guys? Listen, if this was Hidden Cup 6 right now, and this person's name was Billy Bob Jr., I don't know what names would be in Hidden Cup 6 if it happens. Everyone would be screaming that this is MbL. Just the little egg walls... It's the most MbL thing I've ever seen in my life, man. Otto the Great confirmed. So, the thing is, though, is it does a good job of keeping you safe in the early stages. Sitaux will see that MbL's adding fishing ships here. He doesn't have fishing ships of his own, and he will be concerned by that. Sitau's land pressure did not do much for him. He only got 1 kill this game. Water pressure could do something as he goes for a second dock, but clock is kind of ticking for Sitaux to get some damage in on MbL. And so he's got the archers here in the wood line, and he's got the fire galleys here. Will MbL notice? It doesn't seem like MbL has noticed this. And now he notices. God, the villager pathing is brutal for him. Lost 1 Vil has to react there. Seems like MbL should be able to defend here. Sitaux will eventually contest this, but isn't in a position to kill anything just yet. Man, I'm worried for Sitau's food eco at the moment. I'm noticing just 2 on berries. Probably could pull these villagers over to the berries right now. MbL's going to have a lot more on the berries. MbL doesn't have farms, but MbL has 6 fishing ships. It has 0 fishing ships for Sitaux. And, like, MbL could add more here. MbL has done such a good job so far this series at not taking damage. It hasn't always been pretty, but it just seems to be such a theme for him. This villager's extremely weak. He also loves his demos. Look at this. Kills the repair bill and kills the ship. Did end up losing the villager that was on the shoreline here, but honestly feels as though the strategy from MbL has paid off in some ways. It's a 2-pond map, and while he doesn't have full domination of this pond right now, he's at least been able to fish from it for quite a long time here. Where he's going to have concerns is here. MbL is losing everything to the archers and just the starting scout here from Sitaux. Now, he does have armor, so the archers really aren't going to want to stick around. And I said everything. He lost 2 units, but still, it actually could have been much worse for him if he didn't realize there. If Sitaux engaged fully with the archers, I bet you he could have killed some of these weak skirms. Finally, Sitaux is going to kill some fishing ships over here, and really good recognition from him to realize that he had to do this. They basically swapped pawns here, and we'll probably see Sitaux add some fishing ships. Well, Sitaux trying to get up to Castle Age desperately. Like, again, food eco is the problem. You need 800 food for Castle Age, so he's just going to buy it right now. And, ooh, he's repositioning his army. And I like how he hasn't, like, really made it obvious he's bringing archers in. See, now the double back will let MbL know something's coming. Yeah. And that scout's here to block some walls, and this is a problem for MbL. This is really bad for him. All of these villagers are exposed, and his army is back here. So, MbL could maybe save a couple of these guys with some walls between the wood line. But the scout chases, and ooh, this is amazing for Sitaux. Especially if he doesn't lose the army. If he could get away with the army, this is massive. He has to try and escape here. He's going to break through the wall, and he's probably going to sacrifice the scout just so he can get away here. That's amazing find for Sitaux. Sitaux will be in Castle Age faster. Sitaux will have a couple fishing ships if that matters. And Sitaux just... You know, if he kills this army, it's a different situation. If he could find an engagement, and he's going to find it, then at least... if MbL finds the engagement, then Sitaux won't have as much army in castle. So, obviously losing the villagers wasn't good for MbL, but the fact that he's going to have the stronger... Oh! Boom! He's going to have the stronger army in Castle Age is going to be sick for him. MbL using the dock, demoing the archers. And army towards the middle now for MbL. So I think we're definitely going to see a siege workshop. It's just a question of where is that siege workshop going to be placed. For a player who built the siege workshop forward his opponent's base next to a hill game 1, feels like he may easily try the same thing here in game 2. Not enough stone for a town center for both. Sitaux and Castle Age faster, but he only has 6 archers. And here he comes with his vills. He wants the siege workshop, but MbL is just like, you know what? I have the numbers. I'm not going to be scared of you. And oh, this is such a tough situation for Sitaux right now. MbL just refuses to hesitate here. We'll find one villager pick. Quick walls from Sitaux. And now MbL will get his upgrades. That knight's not going to be enough to push this back. MbL should be okay. And this moment in the game is so critical, guys, because siege and TCs and any type of control towards the middle here is so important on Kawasan. And now MbL has the opportunity to be the one to do that. And almost on cue, he brings the vills. University for him at home as well, so he could think about ballistics. I wonder if you could go back. Okay, so guys, let's pretend you're Sitaux and that life worked this way. And I asked you, would you prefer to kill the villagers here and lose the army? Or not kill the villagers and just keep the army mass? Which one would you choose? Because right now, you know, while Sitaux has the greater eco KD, I kind of feel like you would choose to keep the army alive, right? Because if you have the army mass, you might have the middle right now. It's kind of interesting because I think normally if you're in feudal age and you could trade that much army for that many veal kills, it might be decent enough, but this is a real issue for Sitaux. And MbL will also TC the middle. So he's going to have siege in the middle. He's going to have eco in the middle. And the berries is just so easy. You don't have to think about it. And it's just everywhere here. Sitaux needs a big shot. He needs a big mangonel shot on a group of crossbows. Otherwise, this game is kind of at risk of getting out of hand here. And ballistics now on the way for MbL as well. So good from him in Dark Age and Feudal Age to set himself up so he could be in this position in Castle Age. He always, like the little egg walls is part of the thought process. And, ooh, 6 shot there from Sitaux. But MbL had the hill, so his mangonel survives, and he has the vills close enough to repair. And in the end, not enough. Sitaux ends up getting the kill. Well played. MbL's got to be careful here. If you were to lose these crossbows, there's a lot of army from Sitaux towards the middle here. But you see what I mean? Like, now, if you're Sitaux, it's really hard to know what to do. It's like controlling this hill always seems to win you the game when the matchup's even. Because, like, yeah, in theory, you could sneak this way, but it just takes so long, and it's so awkward to move that direction. And then if you do that, your opponent's right on your doorstep, and they could threaten you immediately. Remember, no ballistics for Sitaux. And MbL is going to run over there to drop a tower. He's really scared of the Japanese fish. I mean, can you imagine if you would have sent the vills there a little bit earlier? You would have lost all those villagers building a tower on a shoreline. He did just notice, though, that the crossbows from Sitaux were over here. That's crazy scouting from him. So he'll continue to build that tower, and he'll drop a dock, and he drops a TC over here in a pretty good spot to keep himself protected. Guys, Sitaux is running back because he saw MbL's scout. Like, that's the level we're at this point, right? Like, it's one thing MbL scouts it, but Sitaux actually skipped away here. He didn't move directly into attack because he knew he was spotted and that MbL would react to it. But it's been awfully quiet for a minute, so I think Sitaux might think that he could maybe swoop in here. MbL's pretty much moved everything away, though. Like, he knows. He's got the siege. The only thing that MbL doesn't really have is a lot of food eco, but the same could be said for Sitaux, which is wood, gold, wood, gold, wood, gold for both right now. And that's why the berries in the middle is so important here. I don't think the fish matter that much to Sitaux anyways at this point. Like, it really comes down to army mass. And it comes down to getting some town centers. And MbL swoops in out of nowhere. Will kill all of these villagers. And now the only way Sitaux wins this game is if he pushes the hill. He's got 3 mangonels. He has to somehow out micro MbL and push the middle here. He's going to need more siege back at home now to deal with this. But he should understand that he has to... Oh, God, there's another group of crossbows. MbL has him surrounded. It's a slaughter. Oh, man. Also, MbL, kill the mangonel here. And if he kills another one, oh, that's perfect. That's enough. You go 1 for 2 there, and you slaughter everything else over here. I thought it would be a really close series. Honestly, the games have been really competitive. But with MbL being such a big confidence player as well, I think Sitaux is a pretty big confidence player. Maybe everyone's a confidence player, but things are looking amazing for MbL here in the round of 16. He's played so well. He's had so much army. He always has defense. He's always prepared. He's paying attention to this, right? None of this is a surprise to him. Look at this army control. He's still moving around with these crossbows. He's still moving around with these crossbows and still defending here. Just disgusting work from MbL. And Sitaux has to still push because he knows he's behind. And he moves forward. And every time he's there, MbL is waiting. Big shot from MbL. And still, poor Sitaux just can't deal with these crossbows. There's just too many crossbows. He doesn't have a working eco anymore, guys. 31 eco against 66 at the moment. So MbL doesn't need good trades anymore. He's always able to make more. From here on out, MbL could lose half of his engagements and still probably be in a winning position. Still, though, siege push can work against crossbows, and it can work against siege. So if Sitaux is able to get favorable siege engagements, get to the middle, there's a lot of exposed eco there. That might be the reason he plays on. I think also you play on if you're, you know, trying to... I think it is better to de-tilt if you're frustrated by playing on an extra couple of minutes than it is to still have this game be in your mind when you're in the lobby. That's how I view it. Like, if I'm playing tournament games and I'm like, man, okay, I need to forget about this game, I actually just continue to play a little bit longer. Then it's like, once I'm in the lobby for the next game, my mind is more focused on that. But yeah, this is not a recoverable position for Sato. Not even close. And now I'm a little surprised he's playing. But, you know, maybe the score, like, I actually think the score is deceiving in some ways. He might not realize that MbL has the lead that he does. We'll see. We've got towers going up for MbL. Guard tower's going to come in now. You probably picked up on this, but this fire ship did end up killing the fishing ships earlier. And yeah, Sitaux, he's got two separate crossbow armies. He's got this crossbow army, and he's got this crossbow army. And honestly, he's finding some damage here with these crossbows. It's kind of funny. MbL has all of his crossbows, siege, and towers forward, and he's just completely missed out on this. But the Vil count is 34 for Sitaux. Still being active, still trying his best to get some kills. Did find the kills, but he's starting to lose the front of his base now. I feel really bad for the French, man. I can't cast Margugu or Sitaux without a France surrender joke being made. It is unavoidable. And I have made it a point to not bring it up as much myself, to not encourage it. But as Sitaux doesn't resign here, jokes have been made. MbL's chilling, man. You just drop a tower anywhere he's where. Like, this is... MbL knows he's won this game, and he's just having fun at this point. Look at how many towers he's made. He could make a castle. But who needs a castle when you could build lots of towers? MbL gets the kill there. Still out micro Sitaux. Still slaughtering Sitaux here. Man, Sitaux must really be in his head right now. Like, there's levels to it, right? Like, I explained why a player would play on a little bit. But this is, like, really, really playing on it. You're really just either misreading the game or maybe a little tilted. He calls the GG. I think it's easy to assume someone's frustrated. I think he's just playing it out. And scores 2-0 here for MbL. So, guys, unfortunately, my statistics tab is broken, which is a real shame. And we're going to get that fixed for hopefully the next series or maybe a series that happened tomorrow. But what we can look to is the resources collected at the bottom left to basically show you that MbL brought in a lot more resources. In fact, I'm surprised he only brought in like 4,000 more resources. I feel as though he was going to bring in a lot more if this game continued, and he probably collected more of every single resource as well, right? Like, he was on stone faster. He had more food income with the middle. And, you know, I want to bring you back to this, guys. It's something we laugh at and we chuckle at, but look at these walls, man. Like, the approach of building the tower and the tiny little egg walls is so unique to him, but it did not give... The reason it was strong is because it didn't give opportunities for Sitaux to find damage early, so he could take the fish out of the equation. It was just really good thinking. Someone says, click the capture age button on the bottom, then pick statistics. Maybe it'll work. I don't think that's it. I think it's like my way to toggle through the tabs doesn't work. Right? Like, if I go here, I need to go through the tabs, and that's just covered up by this massive scoreboard for whatever reason. So, Yeah, again, sorry I can't do this. This is a cap trade issue. It's out of my control. I will let them know, and we'll see what happens. All right, friends, so we speculated here, all right? I have a memory of when U-Pudding was doing his Sicilian Dungeon Rush play, of him doing it up against Sitaux on this map. It was in a ranked game. Again, maybe 9 months, maybe a year ago, maybe more. If Sato ends up doing it here, I will ask him and find clarification for YouTube, okay? But anyways, it happened. And it was a very vague memory. I would have never thought about that game if we wouldn't see this here. But Sato's down here in a tournament in Warlords. And he's hoping to get a win on the board finally. And he picks Sicilians and just... I don't consider Sicilians to be insanely good on this map. I think there's other civs he would draft that are better for the standard water play. You start with the transport ship with the... actually, not with the Sicilians, with every civilization on this map. And so I wonder if that's kind of the thought process to dock on the back and add fishing ships to keep your fish safe. And then you use your transport ship to transport vills, build a dungeon, make sergeants, and kind of go U-Pudding style. You could make a defensive dungeon, which I think that's what U-Pudding did. Guys, sorry, it's been so long. I know it's really upsetting. I don't remember every single detail from this game for you, but I think U-Pudding went defensive dungeon, and then he made sergeants, and then he transported the sergeants and built a new dungeon with the sergeants. Now, MbL using that transport for Dark Age, he scouted the fact that his opponent's on the back, and he may also be thinking, like, what on earth is this guy going to do? But I don't think you need to... I don't think that you need to, like, really mind game yourself too much here. Vikings are really good on water. You could go fast galleys, or you could go fast castle longboats and still probably adapt from there. MbL is actually someone who's tricky for Sitaux because Sitaux, he's normally an aggressive meta player, and MbL is so like off meta compared to the rest of the competition. It's kind of hard to know what he's going to do. I'm already feeling like MbL might try a fast castle here. Whereas I think most players would probably go fast feudal. So, how do Berserks do versus Sergeants? I think Berserks should do really well against Sergeants, but I don't think that's really the conversation. I think the conversation is, will the Sergeants, if we see Sergeants, kill MbL before it gets late game? Because Vikings have such a good economy and are so good on water that that matchup of the infantry v infantry that you're hoping for probably won't happen here. Sorry guys for no channel bets. I don't know what's going on. We're going to expand the mod team at some point over the next week or two to make sure that we always have your gambling with our points, but mod's probably stepped away for a minute. Okay, so yeah, he got loom. Wow, this is crazy to me, man. I cannot wait to ask Sitaux. What, he's going to the middle? What? This is a labbed out strategy, okay? He's going to the middle gold instead of his safe gold. I guess this is safe if your opponent doesn't know about it, and here he comes. Man, this is definitely because he got U-Puddinged. There's no way Sitaux would just randomly do this. Clearly something happened against him, and he felt like, man, that was pretty strong. All right, there's the dungeon. I also remember a game where Margugu got... Maybe it was Margugu it happened to? Man, where's Margugu when I need him? I have questions to ask. All right, well, the back dock is an important part of this, right? The idea is your fish is safe. MbL, I don't know if he expected it like I did, right? MbL doesn't... I don't think he watches games like I do. He's just playing a lot of games. But I think he might be expecting to sneak because he goes for a stable now at home. Now we have a pause. These games are live. We'll see what happens. Now, if MbL was any other civ, he could just make like 1 or 2 fire galleys, go kill the fish easy peasy. Because he could only make galleys, you actually have to be more patient and wait till you get like maybe 3 galleys before you move out. So that's really good for Sitaux here. And Sitaux has made his first sergeant. He's here to attack MbL right after the pause. Sorry for the lag. And he's also going to go forward dock to try and make fire galleys on the fish. I really like this strat. I don't actually know what MbL can do against this. The great thing for MbL, and I remember a game in Hidden Cup qualifiers where it's happened as well, is that he has wheelbarrow with Vikings right away, so he's really quick. And like he could kind of fight some of the sergeants and run away in theory. But still, you're fighting with villagers, which is not what you want to be doing with villagers. This part of the strategy is actually my favorite here. The fact that one mining camp allows him to take stone and gold is so epic. I would have maybe thought of the strategy and he would still take the gold at home. MbL's making scouts. He's dropping a tower. This game just got crazy. And it got random and it got messy. But that's what Sitaux wanted. I can't wait till MbL scout rushes his opponent, though. This is gonna be so funny. Oh, I love this game. This game is already the best game of the series in terms of entertainment for me. Such a unique style. And that's going to be a second villager loss for MbL. Now, wouldn't it be something if MbL knew that there were vills in the middle? He has no clue, right? Because he's never had this before. He's not going to assume the vills are there. Sitaux knows, because he's using his own transport ship to block, that MbL's on the way with something. But he doesn't have a barracks at home, so he needs to make sure he has defense in some way. He also doesn't... He might not know what that is. It maybe has a suspicion it's scouts now, because he sees the stable, but... Maybe MbL has something else out there, right? And there are the scouts. And we have a defensive donjon here from Sitaux, who's likely to lose his villager, because MbL blocks it perfectly. A little sloppy, but it's just been in that type of game, right? It's expected that the game... when it plays out like this is going to be this awkward. But like, guys, MbL's fishing ships are moving somewhere. Oh, they're on the front! Oh, that's sick, actually. Okay, so his fishing ships are actually still alive because he's being attacked over here. This donjon can produce spears. The change they made, and we have another pause. I really hope there's no hotkey issues here. I actually remember Sitaux at another tournament where he played MbL having hotkey issues on the patch because we've changed the patch due to, you know, bugs and whatnot. So I imagine we're going to continue here. But what a fun game. What a fun game. This game has been so fun, so unique, and so messy. And so far, I would say that this has been exceptional. Now, here's my theory on the pause, okay? So my... hotkey for a unique unit is T, okay? Usually out of a castle or, you know, I guess a crepost or whatever. My hotkey for a spearman is also T. And anytime I try the donjon strategy, which is very rare, but of course I'm a U-pudding guy, so I've tried it. I haven't just casted it. There's an overlap with hotkeys because it's T hotkey for spear and it's T hotkey for sergeant. So I think he wants spears. And he's currently in his hotkeys right now thinking, well, what do I change? Do I change my spear hotkey or do I change my donjon sergeant hotkey? Now, again, if you guys are interested, I could maybe ask Sitaux about that later on, and that can be clarified on YouTube. Okay, actually, hold on. It was hotkeys. I was wrong. He says, I have, but patch removed it. Looking for donjon hotkey. Can't find it. Will click 14. Okay, so he's been making donjons without a hotkey. Which is interesting, but he probably doesn't need many more. He loses the villager there. And then these bad boys are just hammering down another donjon. Okay. So we're going to see a tower. Well, not a tower, sorry. A donjon go up on the gold, and MbL is going to have to reposition to this gold. Guys, so far, this has worked out really well for Sitaux. I think he's played amazing. God, if MbL only knew. This is so funny. This is so funny. He has no clue those vills are all exposed. He's going to bring the scouts home now. Because he feels like this is probably getting really bad. And oh man, MbL's going to try and rush down this donjon. It might work. He's going to bring over the scouts. That's enough scouts to fight off 2 sergeants. And now we see the spears on the way for Sitaux. Meanwhile, another donjon is on the way. So as one donjon crashes down, a new donjon will be constructed. But that donjon over there will deny another one of MbL's gold soon. Guys, who's winning this game right now? Is it MbL, who has donjons all over his face and is being attacked by sergeants? Or is it Sitaux, who is pushing with fish, but doesn't really have the best of economy back at home? It's been full aggression for Sitaux. If he wasn't against Vikings, maybe he would have won the game already. Look at how many vills are moving away. And at the rate they move because of wheelbarrow. It's crazy, right? I love the fires, though. Like the fact that Sitaux is finally be able to disrupt the fish while still having his own fish alive is amazing. And we now have another donjon. Let's go. We have another donjon. So I think MbL needs a castle. I think we might have the answer. People were thinking like, what about berserks versus sergeants? I think we might actually see that this game because MbL is quickly losing control of his base. He's up against lots of infantry, and he needs something, like he needs a building in defense. And with his resources climbing towards castle, it does feel like maybe defensive towers and then still mining stone into building a castle in Castle Age could be MbL's plan. And he's saving that food. He's dropping gates, and we just have another donjon going up. This strategy's insane, man. This strategy's insane. So MbL has lost this gold. He's lost this gold. He's going to lose access to this gold. The sergeants don't care about... Well, maybe they should care about TC fire. Okay. Future sergeants will know that town centers could still be a problem. But, I mean, who cares? There's just still more sergeants. There's sergeants everywhere. Their armor's still decent enough. MbL's got weak villagers here. There's just too many things for MbL to pay attention to right now because of how aggressive Sitaux is being. Okay, guys. I'm going to tell you what I want to see. We probably won't see it, but I want to see MbL try and go longbows on water, or longboats on water, sorry. But I want to see defensive castle to defend his base into a forward castle at Sitau's base. Sitaux has no defense over there. Can MbL survive? Power fires helping. It's not a lot, though, because of the armor on the sergeants. MbL has no choice but to fight off with vills, using the tower, using the scouts. Sitaux is still producing sergeants and also still producing fishing ships. But he's not anywhere close to clicking up the Castle Age because of the sergeant production. He's got attacks coming in over here. He's doing an awful lot of damage over here. MbL just has to fight it off with vills. This is insane. He's nothing else, guys. And the sergeants are destroying MbL. Oh, man. I love this so much. This is such a good strategy from Sitaux. And it's the type of thing you need in tournaments. To have 1 or 2 tricks up your sleeve is so good. MbL will try and mass longboats. Because, I mean, if he can kill the fish from Sitaux, that's going to be key. Sitau's got so many fishing ships bringing in food behind this. Sitaux still doesn't really have the food rising to go up towards the next stage. The longboats actually defend the tower as well. A couple knights from MbL could be helpful. Sergeant is such a funny looking unit, man. And quick walls from MbL. On a scale of 1 to 10, how frustrated would you be if you were MbL right now? A scale of 1 to 10. I think I would be at 9.7, and this would only turn into a 10 if this donjon actually completed. This is approaching 10 territory, because this is just like, come on, man, like, give me a break, let me rest. This is feudal age against castle age, by the way. MbL just wants these things to die. By the time he kills them and he sacrifices a couple extra villagers, there's going to be a couple more over at his base. And he's still not able to disrupt the fish. That's going to be another donjon. Well, sorry, another sergeant dead. I do think that Sitaux needs to just build a market. And he needs to either sell the stone or, I don't know, do something to make sure he can get castle. Because sergeants become so much stronger in castle, it's not even funny. MbL still needs a castle so he could chill. And he's going to build a castle here. Well, he needs to wall it in. You need to get some walls down if you're MbL. You cannot allow this to be denied. Because that's just going to give more reason for Sitaux to come over here to try and disrupt your eco. It would take some time, but if he just walls in like 4 or 5 villagers building this, he should be okay. Oh, man. There's also... He lost his knight here, and there's a new donjon being constructed over here. Oh, this is out of 10 for me. This is so frustrating. And finally, Sitaux builds a market. Sitaux has collected 5,000 more resources. It's not just the attack, right? Like, you know, if this was Lowy the Legends, we'd have the sergeants, but the guy making the sergeants wouldn't have eco. He's got crazy economy. He's got navy. Like, he's done everything. MbL, he hasn't had enough food to even produce villagers for a while. So I'm sure he wants to make some berserks, but he's going to have to buy the food for that. And are berserks even good enough against sergeants? I think Castle Age berserks are kind of rough. I don't consider them to be that strong. MbL will take down this donjon with the protection of his castle. This one will be shot down by the castle, so he can breathe a little bit more. But then these 2 donjons produce more sergeants to now see another donjon. And so as MbL gains the right of his base, he'll probably lose the area on this side of his base. He's going to build a TC here, though. Can someone tell me the HP? Well, actually, maybe MbL will make one. I'm wondering the HP and the attack of a berserk. Because the thing about the sergeants is not necessarily their attack. Because I think their attack in Castle Age is only 8 base attack. But they've got really high armor. And it's that armor that makes them strong, especially up against like, TC fire. MbL thrives in chaos. But this has been too chaotic for him, even for him. Sitaux could do anything he desires. The safe play for him is actually just to go full navy now. But maybe mixing in a castle or a siege workshop could be sick. I want to see a 1 villager castle here. Come on, baby. 1 villager castle. You're Sicilians. You build castles faster. Upgrade this to a castle. Oh, he's brought more vills. And MbL calls the GG. 44 sergeants from Sitaux. 44. Oh, man, how badly I want to message him right now. And ask him what inspired him to do this strategy. That strategy was sick, man. That was so good. And Sitaux continues to stay alive in the series because of it. Again, like game number 1, bit shaky for Sitaux. Game number 2, MbL kind of stomped him. This is something he needed. And who knows? There's a lot of maps remaining. There's a lot of civs, a lot of strategies. If Sitaux has 1 or 2 more of these up his sleeve, combined with competing with MbL on maybe like a map that incorporates a bit of water, maybe like some extreme that's out there where he feels like he has an edge for MbL. Maybe MbL slips up. And suddenly we're going to game 6 or game 7 or something. So good stuff. Now, again, unfortunately, folks, I'm unable to go see the rest of the stats. That is a bug that is hopefully being worked on by Capture Age. I can only apologize for that. But Sitaux collected 18,000 resources in this game, and MbL collected less than 10,000. So pretty much double the amount of resources collected for Sitaux because he utilized the fish behind the aggression. I love this. I think that building the mining camp here was an excellent adaptation with this strategy. And yeah, you probably can't do it again with your Sitaux. Like, if Sitaux wins this series and tries this in the next round, the opponent should at the very least know to send the scouts here to kill these vills. Like, this is definitely something that you could use once. The next time you try it, you have to change some things. All right, here we are. Game 4. And Sitaux needs this one. He's got a really good late game civilization. He's got the Vietnamese. And MbL has the Turks. This is MbL's home map on the back of losing his first game in the series. Both of these civs could be fantastic in late game for very different reasons. But I'd say MbL is the player who usually would prefer this type of map. Now, we have a sign here. Yesterday it said Market Blacksmith. Today it says East and West. What? Was there a sign expansion? I had no clue that there were so many different signs here, guys. The first time I saw the signs was in Warlords 2, and it was a sign that said Austria this way and Germany that way. But yesterday was Market Blacksmith. Now there's East and West, and I like the signs. I'm a big fan. And it's also pointing the right direction. So, certainly appreciate that. MbL is going to house wall up. And so far, Sitaux has no interest in walling at all. It's funny to see this, because a lot of times with like experienced Black Forest players will want the forward wall so badly that they'll even villager rush for it. So T90, the signs have been in the game since AOK. Really? Well, I was never a big sign guy, you know? I'm more of a billboard guy myself. So I paid attention to the billboards that were available in the game, but not the signs. Well, how many options are there? Now we need to know. Yeah, you can't chop this. You can't chop this. You can't attack this. It's just kind of there. It's for flair. It's to give casters something to talk about. And I think it's kind of run its course. I think I've said everything, but thank you, Xerxes, for the 3 years subbing here on Twitch. Thank you. He says 36 months. Here's the 36 more of these. Thank you, Xerxes. Very nice message. Thank you, Sergeant Bruno, Binary, and Arachnia. Welcome back, guys. Lots of milestones. Back from my trip about Alaska. Back from my trip from Alaska. Jeez. And clearly I need to warm up a bit more. And I'll be streaming all week. I'm pretty much back now. I've got my normal routine back in action after like 2.5 months of being active, but not consistently active. So it's funny. MbL walled here because it was a safe wall. And now he's thinking, well, actually, my opponent hasn't come out here. So I'm going to go for an even further wall. But MbL didn't scout the fact that Sitaux is coming with army. And Sitaux doesn't know that MbL has another wall back here. So Sitaux is licking his lips right now, and he's probably like, oh my god, like, he hasn't even fully walled yet. This is amazing for me. But MbL could just fall back. So it's going to be really fast aggression here from Sitaux. He doesn't want this to be a boom game, and I like the idea. We're probably going to see an archery range, and this is going to be man-at-arms and very fast archers here for Sitaux. Meanwhile, MbL is fast castling, or at least he's going to attempt to. This is just so funny. When Sitaux breaks through here, he's going to see this and be like, huh? I will say, though, that you never really want to build houses as part of your Black Forest wall, because houses will go down very quickly here. All right, MbL. No loom! MbL hasn't clicked loom yet? I think MbL is in big trouble. I mean, I know he's got the extra layer of wall, but to not have loom is crazy to me. He could barely repair this as is, and then when the first archer shows up, his villagers are going to get wrecked. We might have a 2-2 here, guys. Now, Sitaux doesn't have a great eco behind this. But as you can see, these villagers go down so quickly. MbL's got to run, and he has to try and complete the walls. He can't complete the walls, so now he's running. Sitaux is going to be like, what am I looking at here? MbL, don't open the gate. Disaster for MbL. And now, like I said, the house is a vulnerability. This house will go down so fast. Sitaux will have 3 archers before MbL's even in feudal, and bye-bye house, and bye-bye wall. All that investment is just going to be It's just going to be a waste. And now he has to go for more walls. Guys, I mean, Sitaux looking good all of a sudden. Now, the main thing you think of in these instances, he's killed 2 villagers, which is awesome. But you do have to think about the lack of eco upgrades for him. And normally Vietnamese, one of their strong bonuses and what makes them really strong these days is the fact their eco is solid. Sitaux didn't really need this tower, but he is going to just stonewall the front now and continue to try and be aggressive against MbL. I think if MbL got Loom before clicking up, he probably doesn't lose those 2 vills, but he still probably has lost all of this ground and is forced to fall back. So triple houses from MbL. Houses are a bit stronger now in feudal, so they will provide more protection than they did before. The big reason the house went down so quickly was because it was a Dark Age house. And Sitaux wasn't able to find a lot of damage against MbL in early game in game 1 and game 2, but he found it in game 3, and he's now found it so far in game 4. But MbL's tower is going to go up. And yeah, really good patient play from him. Barely keeps the house alive. And is prepping another tower here. So, things to talk about here is that Sitaux has had a minute of idle time on his TC. So he's killed 2 vills, but he's has the same amount of villagers as MbL because he wasn't producing. And that just brings it back to the eco. It is really expensive for him to invest into all of this. Man-at-Arms, the Archers, the forward vills. And MbL, he wanted to complete these walls before this army got here. He will have to still complete these walls. These are feudal age stone walls. They're not that strong yet. MbL's on stone. MbL's concerned, and MbL's going to drop another tower. I mean, look at what MbL has had to make. Look at what he's had to do. He's lost 2 vills. He made all these walls that have done very little for him. And now he's had to make 3 towers to stop this army from breaking through. It's a big investment. I wonder if MbL thinks at one point, man, I need the food. Oh, look, there's a boar. And then sends a weak vill over there, and then the bears are like, roar! I was kind of worried about that in Alaska. Thankfully, there were no boars for me to go eat, so I didn't take any risks with the bears. But, I was a little concerned. Ooh, Sitau's going to run through. Uh-oh, abort. Oh, God, abort. Actually, could have been way worse. MbL could have actually trapped him there. Yeah, I think it's the way the map is scripted. The extra boars are always protected by bears. So don't misclick a bear thinking it's a boar. They do look kind of similar depending on the direction they're facing. So, kind of small story time about my time in Alaska as these guys are going to head towards Castle Age. So, we didn't see any bears, which is good. Like, I wanted to see a bear, but I didn't want to encounter a bear on, like, a hiking trail with very dense forest, because that is, like, you might surprise the bear, or, I don't know, maybe the bear didn't eat that day. I didn't want to be bear food. So, if I could have guaranteed that I could see a grizzly bear and survive the encounter, or not even survive, survive unscathed, I would have done that, but that, didn't happen. So anyways, what we did see was a lot of moose, right? So we get there, we go out to lunch with my fiance's coworkers, right? So we were there for partially because of a work thing for her. And they tell us that someone in the town who was like a well-known photographer or whatever, was attacked and killed by a moose 2 days prior to us getting there. Scary stuff, right? Now, he was photographing a moose who had just given birth. And I imagine either got too close or that moose was very defensive of its young, as you can imagine, and, attacked and killed the guy. They're very dangerous, right? So they tell us that, and I'm like, whoa. We pull up to our place we're staying. Right next to the driveway was a moose. And I'm like, I'm not getting out of the car. Can we go stay somewhere else? I'm not going. I am not going to get out of the car. It ran away and was very skittish, and it wasn't a problem. But there were just moose everywhere, man. Which was really cool. They didn't attack us. They weren't defensive. I think that it's mainly a thing if they have young around. But they look cute, but they could be pretty scary, man. So keep that in mind if you ever see a moose. Villagers coming forward for Sitaux. Sitau's been on stone. And he's going to try and drop a castle. MbL is also planning on dropping a castle here. So I like the idea from Sitaux to keep up the aggression against MbL. At the very least, it lets you hold a lot more of the map. And there goes the castle. MbL has some decisions to make here. And what's his decision? Oh, he's gonna build a castle. Sitaux still has archers, though, which could disrupt this somewhat. Oh, this would be crazy if MbL somehow denies Sitau's castle. I think he was going to, and Sitaux bails. Sitaux is kind of in a risky spot, so he's going to build his castle further back now. MbL's castle will probably look to produce some janissaries. I mean, MbL thinks he could possibly deny this castle, guys. I'll trust his judgment on it that it could be a possibility. Oh, no, Sitaux. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, Sitaux. No. No! Sitaux! It's at 70%! MbL's gonna deny it! Disaster for Sitaux! Oh, there's no way. Wow, MbL choosing to build his own castle with all those villagers initially. Forcing Sitaux to delete. And there's no way this completes. He's clicking, he's clicking, he's clicking, he's clicking. It's 95% and it's denied. And how are you supposed to complete it now? You gotta send more vills. Here he goes. Go, 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 go. Run. Delete the house. Run. MbL. Oh, man. It might complete now. It's super close. 98. 99. And denied. And Sitaux calls the GG. Oh, man. A true doubt castle there from Sitaux. Ah, that's a frustrating loss for him, man. It was such a good opening. It was such a good opening. And sometimes when you have the good opening, you can say, okay, we're going to go lake him. We're going to chill. But he was like, no, Turks can be dangerous. I have a lead. Let's keep the lead. It's just his initial castle just didn't have enough villagers building it, right? He needed to have around 10. That's what I'm always saying, man. I mean, we've seen doubt fail castles with such frequency. I've really thought about this. And he had 6. I think you just have to bring a couple more villagers forward for that. It was a great decision from MbL. He recognized in this moment that he was going to have a chance to deny this because you could tell he was researching Fletching for a reason. He does not need Fletching for his military units. So that tells me it was for the castle. And then also the fact that MbL brought his vills out, like he just knew that he could try and deny this, it'd be worth it, and that the janissaries would produce fast enough. So honestly, it really felt like Sitaux could have tied this. We could be 2-2 going into game number 5, but instead the score right now 3-1 for MbL. And MbL needs one win of the next 3 games to move on to the quarterfinals here in Warlords 3. Fun game. Not your typical Black Forest game. Disappointing for Sitaux. Let's see if he can recover from it. GG. Ooh, very interesting shape to this Nomad generation. And these guys have groups of villagers spawning right next to each other. They have to decide on where they build their TCs. And we've got game number 5. We've got a TC over here for Sitaux. And a TC over here for MbL. Persian's one of the best Nomad civs in the game. So Sitaux has that to rely on here to potentially begin that comeback. Could easily be 2-2 right now, but losing that castle in the previous game was so painful. So he town centers here. MbL docks right next to it. MbL does know the TC location is there because there's so many vills on the 9 villager start, you normally are walking past it. But I don't think Sitaux walked past MbL's TC at all. So he doesn't know where MbL is. And Sitaux has docked, actually, with 2 villagers down here towards the south. Ooh, okay, so I'm going to tell you something Sitaux needs to try and do here. So, what you can't do is you can't collect food from deer and drop it off directly at the dock. However, you could collect deer, have the food in your hands, click the shore fish, thus changing the hunter into a shore fisherman, and then drop the food off at the dock. So in order for that to be a possibility, though, you need the shore fish to still be here. And since he has 2 vills here, that shore fish is disappearing awfully quick. So basically, if he doesn't do the hunt trick, he's going to run out of shore fish here and be stuck. He needs fish here for that to work. So it's just something I felt was notable. Stone is underneath the TC here for Sitaux. He does have a gold nearby, but he hasn't scouted it yet. He's got a boar nearby, and he's just now scouted that. And MbL, pretty good map. Lots of areas to expand. Stone, gold, everything's all around. Ooh, and MbL's pig has found this house. Yeah, so that will tell MbL that that is where Sitaux is docked, and that is really big scouting intel here. Okay, so again, I mentioned the shorefish thing because I think it's actually very important to mention. Now, if you're just going to build the second dock with these vills at some point, that's fine. But the 2 shorefish villagers, they're going to bring in the food faster than the dock timing. I feel like I don't want to look anywhere else right now. Because he needs to save some shorefish there for the deer trick to work. Otherwise, those vills are just stuck. He might go up, though. Let's see. He's building the mining camp already. Once that's completed, he's got his 2 Dark Age buildings. And if he has enough food to click up, which obviously these villagers have helped with, he could plan around a second dock, which is pretty common for the Persians here. What's common for the Koreans is a castle drop. A fast castle, go to stone, get those war wagons out. But since MbL knows his opponent is fishing here, he might just want to try and kill those fish. Whereas Sitaux... Oh, Sitaux also found the dock. Okay, this is pretty good for Sitaux then. T90, does it not work with clicking the deep fish too? That's actually a really good point. I think you might be able to just click the deep fish and then click them back to the dock. That's actually a really good point. I don't think you have to actively take the shorefish. So, yeah, forget everything I said, actually. You don't actually need to save the shorefish. So, that's a really obvious point that you just brought up that I probably should have realized, so. But basically, what I said is, like, if you don't know that trick, the 2 villagers on the dock is a problem if you're not going for the second dock to just find a new shorefish, right? But that's what he's going to do. MbL is also on the way to feudal age. And MbL will probably go for a second dock here. But advantage Persians here, in my opinion. Your docks are stronger. Your eco is a bit more fluid because of the work rate. And you also can make demos, which Koreans cannot say. I think Sitaux also will have the timing here. So we've got 2 players essentially going for the same type of build. And Sitaux will be faster with this build. MbL did squeeze in the lumber camp, so he may get bid axe, which Sitau's not doing. Oh, wow. And Sitau's actually going barracks and archer range already, too. Wow. Looks like he did lose a pig or a sheep over here, too, so he knows MbL might be over that direction. So he knows MbL's fish. He knows MbL's TC. Fires are going to be on the way. MbL will go 3 docks here. MbL has to be as stubborn as possible here. Remember, MbL does know where the TC is located for Sitaux. So he knows Sitaux is somewhere over here. Green villagers have crazy vision here, don't they? You can see so much. If this is me, I never walk into the archery range. But pro players, I could see them getting that good fortune. Obviously, you kind of... No way, dude. No way he's going to see... Oh, my God. So close to seeing that. Fishing ship's under fire already. Now, Sitau's making archers. He's also trying to make fires. Something's got to give, right? I don't think he's going to be able to produce fires all the time. And archers as well. And MbL is actually going to make a couple fires and then go galleys. Which I don't hate all that much. I think if you're just going fires into a potential demos, that could be a real problem. But you really need to commit to get the galley numbers out there. Villagers just still building houses here. It's a good trick to build houses around your opponent's base so you can get vision later. After Town Watch, you'll probably see a lot of this eco. But MbL is just not expected there to be archers. Sitaux still hasn't moved out with those archers. Sitaux, I think, is concerned that he's going to fall behind on water now. Looping back in over here, though. Galleys are so tricky to micro here. But soon it's going to be 6 galleys for MbL, plus the fires he has in front. Villagers still hanging out. There goes some archers. Yeah, Sitaux doesn't want to attack with his archers until he has fletching. Makes sense to me. It's also kind of likely that Sitaux may lose water over time here. But I love how he's looping in. It's like, if he sees this navy advancing, he will move in with these fires. You could tell MbL was distracted for a moment there. But the micro's decent enough so far. Most of his fish have stayed alive. Can Sitaux find damage? Remember, he lost something here, so he's always going to come to this area, and it's going to be an absolute jackpot if he gets to that gold. We'll see what MbL does then. Sitaux, no! How is he missing that? Where? I mean, he must be distracted at the moment, right? Because based on his scouting, he lost something here. I think he's trying to be sneaky. I think he might think the TC is there, and he doesn't want to run into the town center fire. MbL is at barracks, which Sitaux's villagers will see. And here come the archers. And the archers are still going to find some kills. Obviously, could have hit the gold immediately, but hitting the wood line's actually a bit better here because it's a bit further away from the TC. And MbL sees this. MbL has to react. And nice quick wall there from MbL, actually. So he saves an extra villager, and it gives him time to drop the tower there as he's trying to kill the fish for Sitaux. So he will find the fishing ship kills. But he's got archers all around his base right now. And Sitaux, seeing the berries, finds another pick there. And MbL's forced to make some skirms. Koreans get the armor upgrades for free, so skirms should be pretty strong. But MbL's really struggling here. And Sitaux's just all over him. Sitaux finds another kill. A really even game right now. Because MbL still has water control. He still has the fish. And he can use that food eco to make skirms to counter these archers. But other aspects of his eco not really looking all that good right now. And skirms alone could be a problem if Sitaux has other ways to pressure. And he's going to add some scouts. That's amazing for Sitaux. I think what Sitaux is doing as well, he's still making ships to eventually try and kill the fish. That's really smart. With another Civ, probably not. But with Persian, since your docks are so strong, they're guaranteed to stay up. And yeah, he recognizes that. Not to mention MbL isn't actually attacking his docks at all. Bad for MbL, of course, to lose these 2 skirms. That's not going to be great. But he at least has a pretty early heads up that there's going to be scouts out there, so he could mix in archers. Or add a spearman or 2. Looks like he's just going to choose to mix in archers with his skirms. Resources collected, better for MbL. That's likely the fish, but I liked how Sato has brought in some more boars. He's taken the berries. He's added some farms. Like, his eco is actually really strong. I do think you have to be careful with the scout production now if you're Sitaux. Adding the scouts made sense. You produce too many, you're stuck in feudal age forever. But maybe that's worth it. Maybe that's worth it. MbL does not have the army to compete with this. Sitaux just bull rushes or bum rushes, or he's rushing. It's some type of rush here. And I mean, MbL is pretty much stuck around his TC right now. He can't build another tower. He's actually very fortunate that Sitaux didn't just stand on this hill. It's so interesting, guys, that, like, there's so many instances with Sitaux where he tries to do too much when the simple approach would actually work well. He feels as though MbL's out here, and he's going to go try and find him. If he just sat there on this hill, MbL's in such a bad spot. It's a very relatable thing. I think it's just so hard when you have this much skill to want to just sit somewhere and chill. But that's essentially what Sitaux, I think, needed to do there. Ultimately, he's going to come to the conclusion that he needs to be back in this area and that MbL is nowhere else. And by the time he comes to that conclusion, it's possible MbL can actually defend the area. MbL will have a decent amount of archers with the skirms, and yeah, I don't think Sitaux can take easy engagements against this, considering the army, the army is there. Yeah, Rusty Shackleford, you might want to watch the VOD. Rusty saw the first couple minutes of Feudal Age in the previous game and is wondering what happened. And poor Sitaux might be wondering what happened if this game continues like this, because MbL, he has his fishing ships alive. They're not working right now. And I was just going to say MbL had an opportunity to push. Can you... I love this, by the way. I love how you could just tell MbL is so busy. The galley play is so tricky. I think MbL has the superior army here. Slightly superior, but I think he could be taking that fight. Didn't do so because he was distracted. Sitaux back on water. Hasn't been able to fish himself, but he's now denying the fish from MbL. Really good work. And Sitaux is on the way to Castle Age. Sitaux is on the way to Castle Age, but has very little food income. He finished his berries. He doesn't have a lot of space for farms. He doesn't have fish. MbL's going to run through. And MbL is on the way to Castle Age. Is losing most of his fishing ships. Is on stone on the right side, probably thinking about war wagons right now. War wagons feel killer right now. Because both players are struggling with food. You want a wood gold unit. War wagons are perfect. Also, might see a couple turtle ships from MbL, but I don't think that should be priority for him at all. Especially since he's already lost his fish. Sitaux is off of gold. Sitaux is bringing his army home. He does have skirms in his army now, though, which he didn't before. So he could clear up MbL. But he's going to have to use the market to balance his eco. And just things are looking awkward for him right now. Sitaux thought that faster Castle Age was going to be enough for him. We'll see if it is. This is the only gold Sitaux could take on this part of the map. God, MbL is actually using the galleys to protect his range units here. It's really smart. TC for Sitaux. Bodkin Arrow for Sitaux. And a Siege Workshop. Good decisions. With Bodkin, he's hoping to clear this up. But oh man, MbL's got so much control right now, guys. He's got the control on water again. And he knows that Sitaux will probably not be able to come back on water because he's been off of gold for so long. And he's still got decent enough control on land, honestly. This is all before we see the potential of war wagons. I think MbL needs to rush that castle up as quickly as possible here. War wagons are really tough for Persians to stop. And MbL's going to still basically deny this gold, it feels like. Using the galleys, using the range for units he has left over. Siege is probably going to be on the way there for Sitaux, but he also needs to push with the siege. It's kind of an awkward position for him. So many times we've seen Sitaux have the potential in the early game against MbL. And MbL just holds on. And then his eco ends up taking him later stages of the game. This goes with a lot of players against MbL. If you can't break him early, he's normally in a great spot in Castle Age. Castle Age is where he thrives. And you just think about the opportunities MbL was able to find on Sitaux. And now you look at Sitaux as he tries to counterattack, and there's nothing, dude. Well, maybe not nothing. The siege is something. MbL will have fishing ships. MbL is 2 town centers producing And he's just going to drop a castle right there. Kind of a weird castle, but he's a little concerned right now because he doesn't have much army. And this is as much to protect himself as it is just for war wagon production right now. Sitaux trying so desperately to clear up this so he could take gold again, and he still can't. Oh, man. MbL was the favorite coming into this series. We talked about how these guys have actually played each other once a year in tournaments since 2021. It's kind of interesting because they're both pretty active. MbL won 2 out of the 3 sets these guys have played. So it's not the longest history, but the most recent one was last year in King of the Desert, where MbL 4-0'd Sato. MbL is a huge confidence player. Like, if he doesn't have a good track record against a player, you could tell when he plays against them because I think he lacks a little bit of belief. So I think we've seen the opposite here. MbL's played his game today. He's stuck to his strengths. He hasn't looked as nervous. And maybe Sitaux also tried to force the issue a little bit too much at times because he knows how tough MbL is to kill. And war wagons are just perfect here. War wagons cannot be stopped at this point. I think this is over. The GG is called. Sitaux did qualify for this event, but he will not move on past the round of 16. MbL wins 4-1. A really good series from MbL in terms of adaptation. Like, game 1 was wall, play safe, and adapt. And he adapted so well. The Black Forest game, things went wrong. He figured it out. He adapted. Nomad can normally be so crazy, right? There's weakness to Koreans when you're next to opponent's docks. He adapted. Archers hit him. He stayed alive. He stayed in it. He's just that type of player. And we'll have to look at the bracket to see who MbL will potentially be up against in the next round. But definitely think MbL's going to be a tough player, a tough nut to crack for whoever he plays up against. Really good to see MbL playing at this level. Sitaux will have some lessons learned. Honestly, it's just Sitaux, like many people who've lost in the first round of Warlords so far, 1 or 2 decisions away from 1 or 2 extra wins, which is enough to change the series. That's just how high level the community is at this point. 1 or 2 tiny little moments can make all the difference there. So GG. Well played to MbL as he moves on. Let's quickly look at the brackets. Unfortunately, folks, hold on. Wrong scene. Or right scene, but I don't have the bracket up. Sorry, I can't show the statistics just yet. But looks like MbL is actually going to move on and play the winner of the next series we're going to end up seeing. So Lakewipedia isn't updated yet. But Sitaux MbL, obviously MbL wins that series. Whoever wins Tato Heart, which is a very next series, will face MbL there. So Tato Heart should be really good. My feeling is that Tato is the big favorite, but Heart has a lot to prove. So we'll see what happens there.